Is it on? Yeah. Okay.
All right. So, one of the main things I wanted to go over was leadership and the true attributes of strength that follow with it. Compassion, courage, understanding, strength and conviction, and authority and faith. Now, even though, while Jesus had been the ultimate source of strength, there was various times in the New Testament where we see the disciples display immense strength through their faith, even in times of persecution and suffering. And, for example, one of those many men who showed courage was Peter. And I'd say one of the tales that we hear the most is him stepping out of a boat, walking on water towards Christ in the middle of a raging storm. As the waves had soared high above his head and whatnot, he still unwavering led to Christ, and he stepped out of that boat. Now, only until he set his eyes off of Christ and onto the storm, he started to waver and he began to sink. But the fact that he had the courage to step out in the first place and get on that water displays an immense amount of boldness. And if anything, that is something I would love to have in the near future. Or the fact that in Acts chapter 4, verse 13, following the resurrection, Peter and John stood before the Sanhedrin with immense courage. Now, the Sanhedrin, this was a supreme Jewish religious and judicial court. It had been a 71-member body composed of the high priests, scribes, and elders, including members from both the Pharisee and the Sadducee factions. Being led by the high priest, the Sanhedrin had held a significant amount of civil and religious authority. Now, having the ability to stand in front of someone as greatly power, and you know that they're on an extremely higher level than you. It's like a homeless man standing in front of a judge, or a pheasant standing in front of a king. Not a lot of people would have that kind of courage, but through their faith they found a way. Or in Acts chapter 5, verse 29, after being arrested and commanded not to preach, Peter and the other apostles boldly proclaimed, "We must obey God rather than men." They would not yield. Through this, another act of boldness and courage, which even though met with suffering or even possible execution, they unwavered the fact that they were upholdment to Christ and that they would follow him no matter what, even if it meant them having to die in the hands of their own kind. They would not waver in the fact of humanity. Now, another thing I talk about is in Paul. The chapter that I go for the book that I go for this is Philippians chapter 4, verse 13. I could do all things through him who strengthens me. Now, at this time, Paul was writing this from prison, facing potential judgment or suffering. Paul's personal experience and his learned ability to be self-sufficient through Christ in all situations had enabled him to persevere in his ministry and bring glory to God. He had learned the ability to be contentful and resilient in any circumstance. I mean, he was in prison while writing this. So, all through Christ, who gave him the strength to endure rather than to achieve worldly desires. Now, fast forward to 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 10. Paul found weakness in his own strength. For the sake of Christ, then I am content with weakness, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. For when I am weak, I am strong. Through Christ, he found strength in his weakness. And yet again, I don't think I'll ever be able to do anything like that. Now, for one of the last ones, Jesus, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, need I say more? Jesus, though we know, had the strength to the display of him controlling weather with his words, or the ability to create the universe and destroy it, or making miracles happen even now through not physically here. We see the compassion of Christ in chapters like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, with there being many more. But from the basics, like in Luke chapter 7, verse 13, Jesus saw a widow at the gate of Nain and had compassion on her. When he saw that she saw that she was grieving over the death of her son, there was a crowd with men carrying her. He told her, "Do not weep." Not long after, he raised her son from the dead. Or in Matthew chapter 9, verse 36, Jesus looked at the crowds and felt compassion because they were distressed and scattered like sheep without a shepherd. Later in Matthew chapter 14, verse 14 to 15, he had felt the same way for a large number of others in a crowd where he had healed the sick and then fed multitudes with few loaves of bread and fish. A leader needs strength, backbone. This can vary from courage, compassion, empathy, and strength in both conviction and authority. Jesus, throughout the Bible, shows all of these things. I mean, even now, at times of need, we can pray and he'll show these things to us, especially the empathy. And he'll give us courage, he'll give us strength, he'll give us bravery. All of those things, and all we need to do is ask. Sometimes we don't even need to ask and he'll give it to us, but it's better to ask than not to, as I've learned from someone over the past week, even if it's already given. And throughout the time of the past year, I found myself being a lot more courageful and being a lot more content with myself, and I couldn't be happier if I'm truly being honest, because over the past course of the year, I've started to step up a lot more and I guess sing out loud. Brandon knows I used to just hum and whatnot. So, but yeah. But
if I may say so, I think everyone else notices it too. So
Yes, thank you.
yeah.
But there's something that I love that I've seen so many else people display is it's a quote that I made, what you want to ignite in others must first be blazing within yourself. That, and if you want to have the strength to be a leader, you have to have the strength to be gentle. And you can hear it from the Bible. Jesus was the most tender, gentle soul you could ever meet. Yet again, he was something more of, he was a warrior. I mean, leader. He's God. He can create something as fast as he can destroy it. His just strength alone is something we should fear, and being fearful of God is something that we should all do. And I guess having that fear can also drive us to be hopeful. But yeah, so far that is all I have. I would have gotten more, but I forgot the rest of what happened over the last course of the year. So, if we can go on with song leading, that'd be fine.
I'm going to be
Any?